Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So, tracking guitars, that's what I'm going to do today. The drums went really well. They sound really good. I've been practicing. I had the KB3 on and I was in here chugging along, practicing, and it sounded really good. That's another good way to use the Zoom as like you could gig with it, You could use it as like a sampler, have all kinds of stuff going on, connected to something, you're playing along. You could use it for backing tracks. I don't know. All kinds of neat things you can do with that thing. This is the guitar I'm going to track with. I know I have my Black Limba Stratocaster that I built that sounds even better than this one. Although this one's really light and airy, it has like a certain sound that I really like. And I have a rule that if I write a song with a guitar, as long as the guitar is not like broken or something, I track with it. And this guitar I found in a pawn shop in Phoenix City, Alabama for 65 bucks. And before this guitar, I had never really bonded with a Stratocaster before. And I ran into this thing and I just fell in love with it and learned about Strats from playing it. And now I'm super into it. I built one with Black Limba wood. Toby Russell built it for me. And then I put the whole thing together and had it set up, and it's awesome. So I thank this guitar for teaching me about Stratocasters. And I think this guitar sounds good in its own right. It's a Squire, $65. It's like a people's guitar. And this is kind of like a populist people's tune. So makes sense. It's gonna be on the track. Alright, so what I usually do with guitars, different things, but I've been kind of doing the same thing lately. My 18 watt is in the shop. There's a good chance that when I get the 18 watt back, I'm going to retract this just because I like the way the 18 watt sounds for rhythm guitars. You get a little bit more of a mid-range push with a Marshall circuit than you do with a Fender. But in order to mic this the way I want to, right, I want to use two microphones to kind of create like this stereo space. And I use different speakers inside of my amplifier cabinet. So this is a 4x12 cabinet. It's filled with Celestion style speakers. Two of them are Celestion, two of them are Warehouse brand. Two of them are Alnico Blue style speakers. One is an actual Celestion Blue and the other one's a Warehouse version. And then the other one is a Celestion G12H30. That's the Jimi Hendrix speaker. And then the other one is the Warehouse version of that. I think it's called the Black Card. Sorry, that's kind of loud. So I have that. So that kind of gives you like a Fender meets British tone, because I'm not using the speaker in the amp, which is an American speaker, an Alnico Utah speaker. It's like a Jensen. No, this isn't an Alnico. This is a ceramic speaker in here. It sounds really good. But it doesn't get as loud, as I can with having the 4x12. And you get a bigger tone, and you get the different speakers. So, I'm going to try that. I think it's going to be cool. Now, you have to be really careful when you're using two microphones for something like this on the Zoom. When you're trying to record guitars, if you want to use two microphones, you're going to have to really pay attention to phase issues. And the way I deal with it, I have this drumstick here. And so what I've done is I've made marks. Let me just hit this standby switch. This is driving me nuts. So it's just humming. So I've got these marks. So this first mark here is the bass drum mark. So I just kind of put this here and put the bass drum there. This mark here is an 8-inch mark, and I usually use that for guitars. So what I'll do is I'm going to take the drumstick, put it up against the speaker cloth, and then I'll go to that 8-inch mark, and I've already done it, but I'm going to readjust this microphone. And I've got to make sure that I get this mic right at that 8-inch mark. Exactly. So I really kind of like work on this for a minute. I take my time getting this just right. And then I got to do the same thing over here. And they have to be exactly the same. I mean, they have to be exactly the same. Or one of them will sound weak. So you'll like turn them up, and one will be kind of loud, one will be like almost dead. And then like when you try to turn them up together, It almost sucks all the sound out. And then when you turn one of them up, you'll get kind of volume, and the other one will just sort of disappear because they're out of phase with each other, and it's like they're fighting. And you can, if you ever record something and there's no way to fix it because you went and recorded it and you get home, you realize it's out of phase and there's no going back, you can invert it, and that might fix it. And I have had success with that in the past. It's amazing. That's one of the cool things about digital and the Zoom, is it allows you to invert something that you recorded one way, you can go the other way with it. So that's pretty neat, but I don't trust it, you know. I'm going to do it right the first time. I'm going to get the recording right. I'm going to get the signal right going in. So that's what I do. Especially like if you ever decide to record on tape at some point, there's no way to fix that, you know. It's physics. It's like you got to do it right. So make sure you do this correctly. Now, the other way I get kind of a variance in tone is having the different speakers and having different microphones. So this one, large diaphragm condenser mic, very sensitive, very detailed, like kind of almost harsh in the upper mids a little bit. A more expensive one would sound better. This is like a $150 mic. A $300 to $500 mic would probably be a little smoother, you know. This one here is a little rolled off. It has like a kind of the stock transformer, not anything special. So it doesn't do super high highs, super low lows, but it sounds good. I like it. And it kind of tames things, especially cymbals. So I've never tried to get it more detailed sounding because I kind of like it to be rolled off for the purposes of overhead miking. But I bet it would sound better with a better transformer. The other thing you can do, besides different microphones, different speakers, different amplifiers, whatever, do something different over here at Insert Effects. So I'm going to go over here, and after connecting this microphone to this side of the cabinet, I'm going right in here up to a Rane MS-1B. Sorry, out of frame. I'm going right up here to MS-1B and running phantom power. And we talked about this with the drums, but the phantom power on the Zoom is pretty pathetic. I don't think it gets the job done. I don't trust it as a source. I think it adds noise. I don't think it allows the microphone to work. You know, these large diaphragm condensers need a lot of voltage to properly output, and ain't happening with the Zoom. So if you want to use a condenser mic, I recommend some sort of cheap preamp. You know, this thing was like under $100. I don't know if they're still around, but they're good. Really neutral and clean and clear. You can't go wrong. So I go to the Rane MS-1B, and you'll have to mess around with the levels. Phantom power is obviously on. That's the red light. So that goes in from the microphone to this, out of this, into channel 1. Now, if I wanted to completely remove the Zoom's preamp from that, I would drop it down to like negative, you know, 00 down here, just nothing. And then get my juice from the Rane. You know, you push the levels here. I usually use a combination. I do not use, when I'm using an outside pre, I do not use the gain, the extra gain. No. But I might drop it, I might just leave this like at, I don't know, minus 20 or something, minus 10, and then have this the rest of the way. I'm not worried about the quality of the preamps. I just like to have enough voltage, enough juice, you know, to power the mic correctly. Now, in that microphone, another way to get two separate sounds at once is to have an effect on this microphone in channel 1 and have nothing on this one so that they sound different. This one will be flat and just what the amp is putting out, what the speaker is putting out, what the mic is receiving. This one will be altered by an effect. I mean, I don't have to do this. I might not do it at all. I'm just letting you know this would be something you could do to give yourself some extra looks, different sounds, you know, out of your guitar. Because a little bit of variance goes a long way. All right, so what I did was I went to my effects, so you're going to hit effect, and then I went down to the algorithm mic, not double mic, but just regular mic, because I only want it in that one input, right? Number one. And I can put it anywhere, I think. All right, so I went to number one, which is the room ambient setting, and it sounds pretty good. I mean, you could pick any one you want. You could use Big Shape on both of them, because you remember you have two. So if you decide to go to dual mic, you could do Big Shape. You could do the first couple are good. The VO, and then the VO2. All those first two or three, I like all those. This AGVO is good. That's a mic. What is that? It's like an AKG. Okay, so then you have a mic. Back on mic. Now on input screen, go down to input screen. See how it says input 1, input 2, input 3? So you just make sure you keep it in input 1 if you're plugged into input 1. Otherwise, it's not going to print. So that's a way to get a bunch of different sounds going. Different speakers, different microphones, one has an effect, one doesn't. Or you could, do dual mic and put an effect on both. Sometimes I just record dry without effects, because you can always do stuff, later in Audacity or whatever you're using, Cubase or Reaper, whatever. All those would have ways for you to bring stuff in that you could, do whatever you want with. So, I did not bring my headphones, stupidly, so I cannot track today. But I'll show you what's going to happen. I'm going to have my headphones on. I'm going to hit play. And when the song comes up, we're going to hit record. So once I have the drums recorded, I no longer need a metronome. I got my headphones on, and I've become familiar with the way the song goes and the way it feels. So it will now be, I don't have to think so much. I just kind of feel the tune like I'm playing with a drummer. That's the whole idea of it. So I just kind of relax. And now I'm going to work on getting my levels correct. So here we go. Okay, so that is connected to just the 12-inch speaker that's in the amplifier. Let me show you what happens when I plug it into the big guy. Okay, so I come out of this amplifier. It has a speaker connector. I disconnect that. I'm going to take the speaker cable that connects the cabinet. I'm going to go into the amp here, crank it on, grab this, and you'll notice it gets a lot. Oops, I lost my pick somehow. It gets a lot bigger when the whole thing comes on. It'll get a lot bigger, watch. Get it a little nastier, a little more distortion. Too much bass. That sounds really cool. I like it. So, guitars. I'm going to come back tomorrow and we'll do, I'll show you how I get through this, and then we'll put the little solo down, and then it's on to bass. So this song is kind of rolling now. I love it when things get like that and just starts happening, and I don't feel like anything's holding me back. Like it's just like a smooth sailing. That's the goal. So guitars, 2 inputs, 1 effect, 2 effects, whatever you want to do. Mic, dual mic, 2 different types of microphones, a ribbon, a condenser, 8 inches away. You could put one. I don't want to tell you how to, because of phase. So yeah, I've got these equidistant just so that I don't have phase issues. And yeah, the Red Squire, time to rock. Next time.